If I was just starting in business, if I wanted to shift my life, my income, my success, my happiness, my joy, what would I like to learn? Life can pull us in a lot of directions. The craziness of the outside world can allow us to forget about our dreams or find imposter syndrome or lose our confidence, lose our drive, lose our desire, lose our focus. We get overwhelmed on not knowing where to start, and then we don't start at all. All those things happen, they're life. Add in 2.5 years of COVID. Now add that we're going into an economic winter and inflation high, which is gas and food, and all the prices are high. We add that we're in a polarized time in history where it feels like everybody's trying to push us apart when we're trying to come back together. Anybody feel that way? Wouldn't we rather all just get together and find our common ground? The media and the world want to tell us how different we are, but I think we have way more in common than everybody's telling us. And if we all were exactly the same, wouldn't that just be a boring world, right? So we're in this time of a couple of 2.5 years of COVID, and then we go into a place where now we're in an economic downturn, recession looming. I think by July 1, they'll officially announce we're in a recession. If you ask anybody, we're actually in it. And I was in business for myself in 2009, or in 2007 when we went into a recession, but I was also in business for myself in 1999. Who remembers the internet crash, right, of 99? I was in business then as well, naive and didn't even know it was a thing. By 2007, I understood it more and had smarter friends, and we made transitions and shifts in advance, and we were able to thrive through that shifting time. If I was just starting in business, if I wanted to shift my life, my income, my success, my happiness, my joy, what would I like to learn? So that's really, I'd love to say that there's more thought to it than that. We need this connection. We need to be plugged in. We need not to forget what our dreams are. We need not to let imposter syndrome be in control of us. We can't let the inner self-doubt say, play small, especially now. With the world shifting, I just want to tell you, this is not a time to sit on your hands. I did an interview 2 or 3 days ago with Tom Bilyeu. I don't know if any of you have ever seen Impact Theory with Tom Bilyeu on YouTube. He's really good. Dear friend, he's great. He interviews wonderful people. He's really smart. So I took my kids with me. I had a couple podcasts. I went and saw my friend Brendan Burchard, and then I flew down to go see Tom Bilyeu, and I brought my older kids, my 13 and 15-year-old, and let them see what their dad does. I'll tell you a story about that in a minute. And as I was talking with Tom, I'm talking about where the world is going and the shifts happening. I'm going to use the real estate space as an example. When the economy shifts, interest rates went up 0.75. All of these things affect, and if you're old enough to understand, there's a bigger byproduct coming, right? The housing industry, there's no way it can't be affected. It's coming, right? But when you're in an industry that's been booming for 10 or 12 years, and if you're in the mortgage industry or the housing, if you sell houses, if you build houses, if you build if you're in it, the last thing you want to do is face it and go, no, maybe it's a little hiccup. Oh, this will happen quick, right? And we get a little amnesia to the way it used to be. So instead of saying, no, it's going to be fine, if I truly care about you guys, what I want to do today is help prepare you, help anticipate. Not make it worse than it is, but not make it better than it is. You know, when things change, when it's scary, when something new happens, what is it we always talk about? Flight or fight, right? We got the flight or fight mechanism. Tom Bilyeu said something I never heard. He said the third F he thinks is even more relevant in today's world, and that's freeze. That's freeze. That's what I want you to think about today. That was my notes here. My team puts together nice cheat sheets for me, and I write all over them so much and so sloppy I can't read my own writing. But what I wrote was the 3 Fs: fight, flight, or freeze. With all the crap that's led up to this recession, this inflation of 2.5 years of COVID, where COVID did things like made us realize, screw that job of me going in every day and not being with my family, not doing something I love, being unsure, missing, screw that. I'm out on that. 82% of people right now want to quit or leave their job to do something new or do their own thing. Never before has it been. The worst it was ever prior to this was 48%. And that was a couple decades ago. So 82% of people are like, COVID made me realize. Maybe you went through a little hardship, but with that shift comes uncertainty, right? And then all of a sudden you slam into gas, the highest it was, and inflation, and now you're like, should I not buy my house? Should I wait to buy? Should I wait to sell? What should I do? Should I invest? Should I take my money out of the stock market? Is my 401k gonna go away forever? Should it go back? Should I take it out and sit in cash? But if I do that, they say cash is trash. So if I sit on cash, it's trash, but if I leave it in the market, it goes down. Right? And all of a sudden this uncertainty builds, and if uncertainty builds, more than I've seen in my 53 years on this planet, guess what happens? Freeze. I don't know if I should do my self-education industry. I don't know if I should do anything with investment. I don't know. And when you feel that way, you freeze, you sit on your hands, you do nothing. This is not a time to freeze. In fact, this is a time to thrive. This is a time to gain capabilities because most people are going to freeze more than you know, and we're not there yet. If people smarter than me, where we're going with, I get the chance to have great conversations, more and more uncertainty will climb, confidence will go down, and more freezing will happen. So if everybody's standing around frozen, what happens if you're the one that can build a tougher mindset, that you can anticipate this, you can prepare this, you can actually get momentum, this is your time to grow. In 2007, 8, and 9, when the world crashed, and I know I've shared this with you guys before, when the world crashed, my real estate education, self-education industry grew faster than ever before, and I ended up owning the whole industry. Going into 2007, I was one of about 7 in my space that were big. By 2009, I was the only one left, and our company, my brand, had got to almost $100 million a year. We were doing almost $2 million a week in sales. By 2009, 2010, we grew like this because the world needed us. And I wasn't selling how to get rich at that time. I was selling people how to secure themselves and be safe and do a deal or two every other month to make enough to get by. I said, if there's other people out there who could tell you how to get rich for doing nothing or rich overnight, then maybe you should try them because that's not me. And that message resonated and we grew like crazy. I believe this is not, what I hope to do today is to reframe your mind to really know things are going to get tough for a lot of people, but this is your time to exponentially grow. This is your time to step in the next level leader that you have living inside of you. This is your time to crush that self-doubt even more, crush it harder, stronger than you ever did before. This is your time to get rid of the old stories and craft a new one. This is your time to realize that most people around you are gonna freeze or run or go backwards, and you have to be that leader to be the example for your family, be example for your friends, help those that need help. And when you start looking through that lens, when we change that mind, we could say, I'm sorry it's coming, but bring it.